So let's look at this, and I want to look at it out of the book of Luke, chapter 18 and verse 10, because I think this really spells it out here. We can never be righteous in the sight of God through our own work. We can never be righteous in the sight of God through our own work. You know, there are a couple of scriptures. In fact, let me share them with you. Romans chapter 3 and 10, if you'll look at there, Romans 3 and 10 and Romans 23. We can never, ever be righteous before God and through our own work, in the sight of God through our own work or through our own righteousness sometimes. And that's all church is most of the time. It's trying to be righteous through our own work. Look at Romans 3 and 10 real quick. We'll come back to Luke 18. But notice what verse 10 says. He says, that is, as it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. Okay, not in your own self, not in your own ability, not in your own efforts. And then look at verse 23 in Romans 3:23. And this is just showing us that nothing you can do can make that. He says, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Okay, so all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. None can be righteous. He is talking about man's outside of his faith in Jesus to make him righteous. Your attempt to try to be righteous through your own efforts and your own actions. You will never, ever be righteous through your own righteousness. What do you call somebody that's trying to be righteous through their own righteousness? Self-righteousness. You'll never be able to do that. Now, I'm gonna try to say this in a way that you'll understand without taking some weird liberties to do things that I did not say. So let's go back to Luke chapter 18, and I'm going to use this as an illustration to show you this publican and this Pharisee. There are two men, verse 10, two men went up into the temple to pray. The one a Pharisee and the other a publican. Now, I'm going to tell you something about the Pharisees. I mean, these guys, they worked really hard to not commit acts of sin. The problem is that you're going to see that they had more faith in their works. All right, now look at this, verse 11. The Pharisee stood and he prayed thus with himself. All right, now it appears to me that this guy is going to have more faith in himself and not God, and that's going to be the problem. So he stood and he prayed thus with himself. I mean, think about that. He prayed with himself. Where is God in this prayer? You know, he prayed with himself. God, it's so crazy. He prayed with himself and then talking to God. God, I thank thee. Now look what he says. I am not as other men are. I'm not an extortioner. I'm not an unjust. I'm not an adulterer. Or even as this publican. So he started qualifying himself through what he's done through his own actions. He says, you know, I have faith in my own actions. I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not that. And then he looks at the public, he says, I'm not even like him. All right? So check this out, verse 12. He says, I fast twice in a week. Check him out. That's noble. I fast twice in a week. I give tithes of all that I possess. Wow. Verse 13. And the publican, standing afar off, wouldn't even lift up, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Now, notice this. The Pharisee had faith in himself. The publican had faith in the mercy of Jesus. Now listen to me carefully now. The righteousness that the Bible talks about can only be obtained through faith in what Jesus has done. That's the only way to do it. You will never obtain righteousness through your actions. Not through your actions. He just called out all of his actions. And if you read the rest of this story, he said that this publican will enter into heaven before this Pharisee would. Now, you think with me, church as we know it is all about doing good deeds, right? and good actions. And that'll eventually be done. That'll be done because of our heart. Our actions, ladies and gentlemen, they benefit us in relationships with people. That's what it's for. We want to have good actions. My actions benefit me in relationship with people. So you got to understand, if your actions are bad, they're gonna impact your relationship with people. People don't want to be around crazy folks doing stupid stuff. So what you do impacts your relationships with people. This is powerful. What you do in your marriage impacts your relationship with your spouse. What you do where your friends are concerned impacts your relationship with your friends. So don't say actions don't matter. They matter in the relationships that you have with people. However, they won't make you righteous. Faith in your actions won't make you righteous. They are good for your relationship where people are concerned. Now, my actions have consequences. They have consequences. If I do something illegal, they have consequences. I go to jail. If I hurt somebody, there may be a consequence. I don't want to have a relationship with you anymore. Your actions have consequences. But now listen to this. And I wrote this down so I didn't want to forget it. Good actions equal what? Good consequences. Bad actions equal what? Bad consequences. But actions cannot make us right with God. We are right based on what Christ has done and our faith in him only. I'm righteous because of what Jesus has done and my faith in what Jesus has done only. That's what makes me righteous. I am righteous because of what he has done on the cross, and he shed his blood, and I now have more faith in what he has done, and I believe, and I've been made righteous. Now, the more you believe that you've been made righteous, it's going to produce righteous behavior. Okay, so you don't have to worry about your behavior. Just believe that you are who he said you are based on your belief in what he has done. But here's what people are freaking out over this teaching of grace is concerned. I am saying to you that your good actions will yield good consequences, but your good actions alone, faith in your actions and not faith in what Christ has done, won't make you righteous. It won't make you righteous. And you can have bad actions and they'll give you bad consequences. But if you have faith in what Jesus has done and you're righteous, your bad actions will not disannul or take away your righteousness that you have obtained through your faith in what Jesus has done. You got to be careful when you deal with actions. Like the Bible says, faith is the victory that overcomes the world. He didn't say action is the victory that overcomes the world. So, faith without works is dead. But works without faith will kill you.